Alright, guys, this episode is probably my favorite of the season so far. We had a Nancy Steve subplot slash fallout. Steve is still very hurt because he probably correctly believes that Nancy doesn't love him. I think they're just very different people and very different points in their lives. She's too concerned with Barb, and he wants to have a normal high school life. And when he's just like, "Oh, tell me that you love me," she's kind of incredulous. Like, I don't know if it's like, I think part of it is like, are you kidding me? Like that's what really matters. Like, this is, I think deep down part of her feels that way, but she's like incredulous because she's like, I can't believe you would actually ask me that. But then she isn't actually able to say it. So both of them got way too confrontational, though. Like, just because Nancy said the thing she said while she was drunk doesn't absolve her from the consequences of her actions. Just because she was drunk when she said those things doesn't absolve her. Steve could also be a little bit more understanding. Barb is essentially is dead. She's her best friend, and it takes some time to recover from that. I get, like, it's perfectly within his rights to be like, oh, like, I can't handle the emotions that come with losing your best friend and dealing with that in a partner. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's a rough situation. Jonathan actually tries to cover for Steve and say that Steve asked him to take her home. So he's being a really nice guy and being kind and thoughtful. So good for him. I don't know if Nancy buys it. It seems like Nancy wants to tell Barb the truth, or tell Barb's parents the truth without anybody else getting involved with the telephone. But people are listening in, and I mean, she knows that people are listening in, right? Like, Hopper clued her in on that in after the last season. I'm assuming they did that off screen somehow. He knew they were listening in on Joyce, on Hurt himself, so I don't know why she would do that phone call, make that phone call, unless she had a plan. Dustin is a very sweet and infinite curiously kid, and I love him for it. Finds a strange animal in his trash and immediately wants to take care of it, instead of being like, whoa, that's weird and disgusting, or it's, I'm scared because I've never seen something like that before. I love his scene in the library. He's just like, I need my paddles. Are you freaking shitting me? I need my paddles. Oh, man. And, Lucas, Max, and Will think it's disgusting. Mike wants to kill it immediately, though. He's the only one who like looks at it like with some level of curiosity instead of like immediate. Like, his first reaction isn't like disgust, but he wants to kill it as soon as Will tells him his suspicions of where it's from. And yeah, the suspicions are confirmed. Like, nothing. I don't think anything grows its legs like that, its hind legs like that in the real world. But yeah, I don't know what it says about Mike that he's willing to kill that thing right away. He's very protective of Will. It makes sense, but he didn't want to give the Dart the benefit of the doubt, I guess. But yeah, Dart itself is interesting. Hates the heat, I guess, which makes the Upside Down a good place for it. There doesn't ever seem to be any sunlight there. The most lighting we've gotten there is just like the red lightning. Did I say the most lighting we've got is the red lightning? But yeah, we also got flashbacks of Elle starting to trust Hopper enough to go with him, and then him teaching her about different things and carving out this place for her to live. So yeah, we also see her unable to deal with some stronger emotions without the use of violence. Like, it was what I was scared about last season, when she made those officers, those agents, bleed from their eyes. That was like super brutal, and yeah, I'm continuing to worry about that now. Like, as cool as it was seeing her break that bully's arm, it was extremely brutal and violent, and we never saw her dealing with, on a personal level, with the murdering of a bunch of people and out of self-defense. And we never saw her do that in any, like, deal with it in any significant way. So we need to find new outlets for her. Like, throwing that food at Hopper was not okay. Doing what she did to Max was definitely not okay. Speaking of what she did with Hopper, she's taking that rule Mike taught her very seriously. Friends don't lie. it's one of her like greatest guiding principles. I'm wondering if Hopper's half-truth about her mother will come back to bite him anyway. But someone needs to teach Elle that friends also don't use their powers against each other or against innocent people like Max. And it's interesting that she refers to Hopper as a friend. Like, she's like, friends don't lie. It kind of speaks to what she sees him as in her life. I think most of us as the audience would try to see them as him as a father figure for her, but she sees him as a friend, which isn't great for parenting. Like that there are ways to be both parents and friends, but it seems like she only sees him as a friend and not a parent. And meanwhile, he's enforcing all the rules and laws, so that's a really difficult situation. I understand it's very difficult to deal with. But yeah, she was so angry at Hopper for keeping her locked up and not being specific with when she'll be able to go and see Mike. She has had just like several weeks of freedom in her entire life, and then it's snatched away from her again. So I understand her frustration. But yeah, taking out on Hopper was not the answer. Like, he kind of admonishes her for like counting the days that like she's a prisoner. Not realizing that, yeah, it kind of is like a prison. Just because it's for her own safety doesn't mean it's healthy for her to be cooped up like this, away from her friends. It's locked inside all the time. But yeah, that led to a great juxtaposition of the flashback of him laying out the rules and then her cutting to her breaking them. That was a wonderfully shot scene. But then, yeah, she leaves. And, yeah, Hopper got wind of her leaving because she was messing around with the swing in that backyard, and I'm worried about her because he's going to be extremely mad at her, and she might be more and more danger. The Department of Energy might have caught on. That doctor looked like he was suspicious about something, or at the very least very curious about what Hopper was doing. Yeah, and then what happened with Mike and Max, she got so jealous that she pulled the skateboard out from under her. That could have gone very wrong if Max fell the wrong way. I had a feeling it was going to happen, but I was really hoping it wouldn't. But yeah, speaking of Max, it was very interesting to see how she was kind of integrating with the group. There are secrets they don't want to let her in on, and Mike is keeping her at her distance for sure. But yeah, she just wants to be friends with him, and it's cute. Like, she was so standoffish at first, and now she's like, she's realizing how cool these guys are, while being extremely nerdy and losers as well. Like, being cool and nerdy and losers and whatever, they're not all like they're not exclusive. You're allowed to be all of those. But yeah, she has the ability to pick locks with a paperclip, though. That's impressive, but I also wonder where that comes from and if that had anything to do with why she had to move to Hawkins, Indiana. But yeah, going back to Elle, I think we've talked about child development a little before in my videos, but most of the time when kids act out, it's because they don't have the proper skills to deal with with their emotions in a constructive way. So, like, just because her actions were violent and problematic, I don't look at her as an inherently problematic or violent child. But yeah, it could get to that point if someone doesn't like guide her the right way. Bob and Joyce's subplot was interesting too. Bob telling her he wasn't concerned with the scuff on the video camera. He was just like, oh yeah, like Will's getting bullied. And Joyce is like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill them. The people bullying Will. And she was looking them up in the video, and she saw the monster that Will drew, and it was also present in that video somehow. It's interesting that it can cross over in that way without anybody actually seeing it. It's on the video. Very curious how that interacts, how the Upside Down interacts with technology and electronics. Last time it was the lights, now it's showing up on the video camera. I don't know if they're going to use the video camera again at some point, or a different video camera at some point to see if that shows up again. But yeah, near the beginning of the episode, Bob gives Will some advice, and if what Will was dealing with was similar to Bob, with Mr. Baldo, maybe it would have worked, if it was just a dream. But there's no way Bob could have known how real the threat was. And I said I was afraid that the pep talk would make Will face off against the big shadowy thing and would blow up in his face. It didn't exactly blow up in his face. It kind of just went into his face, which is scarier. Maybe it's friendly still. Maybe he's implanting all his memories of like rainbows and unicorns, and I don't know. He's imbuing him with shadow powers. Probably not, but I can hold that hope for a little bit, right? I mean, like, Will has just gone through so much. I just want him to be okay and not deal with any more of this crap. But yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, that's going to be it for this time, guys. I'm going to give this episode an 8.5 out of 10. Really solid episode. Really, a lot of tension that I really enjoyed. Especially when Elle got to the school and I was just like, they're not going to meet each other this time, are they? And Mike just walked past her and she walks towards the camera and then walks in the opposite direction. This show really knows how to mess with our emotions. But yeah, that's going to be it for this time. Thanks for watching, and if there are more comments and questions over on Patreon, I will post another video answering those. Until then, I will see you next Thursday for more, what is the show called? Stranger Things. Thanks for watching. Bye, friends.